Hi, and welcome to another video by Get It Done Home Repairs. Today's project, we're going to be replacing the electrical outlet. Now, as you can see with this tester I have in the wall here, there is no power in this outlet. We turned it off at the circuit breaker, so we know it's perfectly safe to work with the outlet now. Here's an example of the tools we're going to need. We're going to need a couple of different screwdrivers, a Phillips head, as well as a flathead screwdriver. We're going to need a pair of cutting pliers, small needle nose pliers, and a non-contact voltage tester, possibly a little flashlight, and some electrical tape. All right, so let's just hop in there and get this job done. All right, so now we're ready to get started. We're going to take our tester out of the outlet itself. We're going to remove the flat screw that holds the plate over the top of it. And in this case, we're going to throw it away because we are going to be replacing the cover as well. If you're going to reuse it, you want to put it off to the side so you can reuse it and don't lose that screw. This had that cover underneath there, and that cover is to cut down on the draft coming through the outlet from the outside walls. Next thing we're going to do is go to the outlet itself, and we're going to remove the screws that hold the outlet to the box in the wall. Now, most of the time they're Phillips head screws. For some reason, these are actually flathead. I don't know why. They're usually always a Phillips head screw. But we're going to take these out. Once we have them totally out, we're going to pull the outlet slightly forward so we can gain access to the wiring that connects up to the sides of it. Now, as I said, we are replacing this outlet, so these screws as well as the outlet itself are going to be trash, so we don't have to worry about that. We're going to pull it out a little bit and give it a little bit of a twist so you can access the wires fairly easy. We're going to remove the ground wire up on top, and that's just counterclockwise with the screw, and you can remove it, and we can take that screw totally out to remove the wire from the outlet itself. We'll put that off to the side, just position it to the side. Now this one here, we're going to take the wires off. Now, when you look at this outlet, you can see that it was actually upside down. Usually I have it where the ground portion is facing down. In this particular case, they had it facing up. I'm not sure why they did that, but we are not going to do that. We're going to put it in the traditional way with the ground to the bottom. Now these wires are actually in the switch itself. These wires are what they call like a stab-in or a push-in wire. I don't like doing that because they do, over a period of time, cause you a problem where you may wind up with a short and the outlet itself may not be working, or an outlet down the line may not be working. So I never recommend using those stab-in or push-in type thing in the back of the switch itself. I always like to strip the wires down and connect turn the end of the wire into a loop, which is just pretty much like a U, and we'll connect the wire up like that. Now we're going to take our strippers and we're going to strip the wire back probably about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch, and we're going to do that on all 4 wires so that we have about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch of wire exposed. And once we have that, we're going to take our needle nose pliers and we're going to create a loop in the end of that wire to go around the nut or screw on the new outlet. All right, so now we have the last one done. We're going to pull this out of the way, grab our needle nose pliers, and we'll come in here and we'll create that loop. We just grab the end of the wire with the needle nose, and we'll create the loop in all 4 of the wires so that we can connect each one of them up to the appropriate location. Now remember, when you're putting this back together, these wires are not going to connect onto the same exact spot that they came off of, because remember how I told you the switch was in the inverted position? It was actually upside down from the way that we normally install them. So in this particular case, the power leads are going to be on the right side of the outlet, and the neutrals are going to be on the left side of the outlet. So that's the way we're going to do it. So let's grab our outlet. Remember what I told you about that ground is going to face down versus being up as it was before. Right? That was upside down. So remember, that's how we're going to do it. All right, we're going to make sure the screws now are turned out all the way so we can put that loop around the screw so we have a nice tight connection inside there. All right, you want to put the wire on so that when you're screwing down the screw, the open end of the loop is actually pulling tighter as you screw that nut down. So you want to put it so that it's facing in the clockwise position. We're going to squeeze that together with our needle nose pliers so we have a nice tight connection, and then we'll screw down the screw all the way down on the side. Hold your finger on it so it doesn't move and make it nice and tight. And we'll do the exact same thing on the other one. If you have to rotate the wire, you can just grab that loop and you can twist it to the appropriate direction that you need it. Again, once we have it caught on there, we're going to grab our needle nose pliers and we're going to squeeze the wire together. Once the wire is squeezed tightly together, we're going to hold the wire in position, make it nice and tight, and now we'll screw it down all the way down. All right, nice and tight. Next, we're going to rotate the switch around. We're going to take our black wires. Remember, the black wires are going on the right side. The black is the power lead going into the outlet. And again, you want to put it on there so that the loop is in the clockwise position. So as you're tightening up the screw, it pulls the wire tighter. And as you can see here, we're just taking a pair of pliers, the needle nose pliers, and we're squeezing the wires together so that they're nice and tight. And now we'll screw it down. You can hold the wire in position with your finger if you need to as you tighten down the screw so that it's snug. All the way down. Then we'll grab our last wire and we'll connect it onto that screw again. Remember, if you have to rotate it, you can. But as you're tightening it down, remember you want to pull that wire tighter as it's turning down so it's going to be going in a clockwise position. Get the wire hooked on, squeeze it closed with the needle nose pliers, and now we'll tighten it down all the way. All right, now once we have that tight, the last thing we have to do is we have to connect our ground screw up, and the ground screw is green, and it's on the side of the switch right here. We'll take our wire again, put it onto that screw. Again, you want to put it in the clockwise position, so as you're tightening it down, it pulls it tighter. All right, nice and tight. That's it. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our electrical tape and we're going to actually put electrical tape around all of the contacts there so we don't have any possibility of shorting out if this was to move while it's in the wall itself. Now this one is a metal box. If you have a plastic box, you really don't need to do this, but the metal box is actually a ground, and if this was to touch into it for one reason or another, you could short out, so that's why I put the electrical tape around this, just to be extra safe. Now we're going to take our wires and we're going to put them back in the wall. You don't just push the wires in the wall, you actually create like a Z in the wire so that when you push it back together, that Z collapses on itself and you have enough room to screw the outlet back into the electrical box itself. Now remember what I said, this outlet is going back in the correct position with the ground facing down versus where it was before, the ground was facing up. So now we have it back in the way we want it. We're going to catch the screws to hold the outlet to the electrical box itself. We're not going to tighten the one screw up all the way. We're just going to catch both of them loosely. And then once we have them caught loosely, then we'll come in here and we'll tighten down the outlet all the way down until it touches into the, in this particular case, it's paneling, but you may have drywall. So once the outlet touches into the drywall or the paneling or whatever it's screwing into, then you can stop. You do not need to make this super tight. You just want to screw it down until it's snug and that the outlet itself doesn't move. All right, nice and tight there. Let's move up to the top and tighten that one up all the way as well. All right, nice and tight. We're in good shape. Let's grab our cover. Let's put our cover on. Of course, we're going to put our insulator on there that was on this. You may not have it, but if you do, reuse it. If you don't, then of course you don't have to worry about it. Now we're going to screw this in. We're going to screw that screw in. Now you want to be careful when you screw these in because these covers are made of plastic nowadays, so they can crack very easily. And that's it. Make sure your outlet is flush with the box itself and not recessed in. And we put our electrical tester in it, and now we're going to go and turn on the outlet to make sure that the power is correct. Now with this particular tester, it'll tell you if it's correct. If there's something wrong, the lights will light up and let you know. And as you can see, everything is lit up just the way it's supposed to, and that's it. This job is done. All right, as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.